Hello, everyone. I'm Marianne Marriott. I am your spiritual hostess, helping you connect to that deeper part of you that has all the answers, all the wisdom, all the guidance to help you live the life that you desire. So, I'm popping in today because I had a lovely discussion with one of my Shine members um, about a reading that we did together. And it always amazes me how much I learn in doing these readings and the feedback that I get from those that I have the privilege of doing these readings for. So I just want to share you a few little um, insights that came up and that I thought others may benefit from. So when we did this reading, so I have a program called Shine Membership, and this is one of my members. We do quarterly check-in readings. And one of the things that she wanted to talk about was this ringing in her ear. Now, she's going down the medical route to check that all out and, make sure there's no medical issues. But she also wanted to look at the spiritual side of it as well to see, maybe if there was something else coming through with that. And so in the session that we had, we talked about when that started. And it started when a fire alarm went off at her work. So this was 10, 15, 20 years ago. And it's been coming up ever since. In the reading that I did for her, grandmother energy showed up. So female grandmother energy, we talked a little bit about that. And my readings are very intuitive, just kind of getting to maybe the heart of a matter. Actually, not kind of getting to the heart of the matter. My guides typically will take me to this core issue that needs to be unwound. When we do the longer readings, when we do the shorter ones, there's just various things that come up. And so we chatted a little bit about what that might mean and why her grandmother energy was coming up. And I shared some information that was coming through on that, and left her with some practical things that she could do. One, to try to offset the ringing, but what was coming through clearly in this reading was that oftentimes when we get ringing in the ears, there's something to be heard. And I did feel like someone was wanting to talk to her and give her a message, and but that message wasn't coming through. So I'm just smiling now because I think sometimes we're not ready to hear, and that's why it doesn't come through, and possibly why the ringing's there, but the message wasn't clear. So I gave her some tips and things that she could do, and we were on a call today, another call that we had with a group, and she shared with me that she had a memory and that she had completely forgotten about. And her great grandparents had died in a house fire. And it was clear to her in this moment that when she heard the fire alarm, that it had triggered this memory for her, which makes complete sense. It's a fire alarm. They died in a fire. And so that led to a really interesting and fascinating conversation around, what does this mean and why is this coming up for you and how is this related to the ringing in the ear? And we did a little discovery in this call, and what she was being guided to do was a ritual around healing the fear and the trauma of this past event that her great-grandparents had gone through. Another little interesting tidbit was that so this was her mother's father's parents, and her mother did not seem to carry the same trauma. Oh, there was one other thing. Right. Sorry. No. Okay. I'm going to get there. So she was being guided to do this ritual to heal the fear and trauma from her great grandparents. And the ritual that was coming through was to, one of the things I said to her is just, you've been given this beautiful gift to heal this past pain and trauma. And this doesn't have to be difficult. It can be something incredibly simple, such as, and then what I kind of saw was lighting a candle. And I thought, well, that's interesting because it's fire. So then I felt a little more drawn towards bringing water into the ritual. And what came through at the end was lighting a candle, extinguishing it with water, and expressing gratitude for the opportunity to heal their fear and trauma and release that fear and trauma back to them. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But here's what came out of this. So when I said, light a candle and extinguish it with water, she said, I have candles all through my house, but I don't burn them. I'm pausing for dramatic effect because there was another gal on the call and we both just stopped and looked at her and said, you see the irony in this, right? You're understanding this, right? And I'm like, so I said, I'm going to ask the obvious question. Why do you not burn the candles? And she said, I'm afraid of fire. So what happens is when there's fear and trauma, lineagely, so in our heritage, in our past, it carries forward generation to generation to generation. And at some point that comes forth to be healed. And this is what was coming out of this session, that this was coming forth to be healed. And the other gal who on the call just happens to be, this happens to be, her area of expertise, where she deals with, past lineage, family trees, heritage. And so she offered that when you do this, you liberate for 7 generations after you. So this was her great grandparents, which would have healed her grandparent energy, which would have healed her parent energy, which would have healed her energy. What are we in 2, 4, 3? Her kids' energy, 4, and so on and so on. And so I just thought it was a beautiful story worth sharing. It led to a beautiful process. And really what I want you to take away from this is that, something can happen in your life because it is bringing up something that you've carried forward through your lineage that needs to be seen, that needs to be heard, that needs to be healed. And you can be given this beautiful gift to heal that and transform that for yourself, for your parents, and whoever's living, again, in your parents, grandparents, but also for your children, your grandchildren, their children, and so on. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that little story. I hope you took something away from it. I'd love to know what you took away from it. So please put that in the comments, and I'll be popping in to share more of these stories. So if you would like to get them, then please let me know in the comments. I'll make sure I have you on my list. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, of course, you can subscribe. And let's stay connected.